for effort.
The intent of today's trip, besides obviously getting to screw around in nature and play with our four-wheel drives, was to test the 1-inch front and 1¼ inch rear bump stop spacers I designed and installed on my 80 series Land Cruiser in the previous video to really see if I can clear 36 13.5 inch IROKs on stock suspension without rubbing. I did end up adding 30mm front coil spacers, so I was pretty confident the bump stop spacers would do the trick. And as you'll see throughout the video, I had zero issues with rubbing. Before I get too far into this video, I want to quickly touch on camera equipment. As I grow this channel and work to provide quality content, I'll be trying out different equipment to improve the viewer experience. In this particular case, I wanted a mount that would allow me to move my GoPro around easily, but also give unique points of view for dynamic shots like this one. Especially in this video, I wanted to not only show the road ahead, but give you an idea of how the tires move in the fender and demonstrate what the tires do under compression. I picked up a magnetic GoPro mount, thinking it would work really well for this angle, and it actually seemed to be working great, right up to the point it didn't. Oh well, it was cool while it lasted. This trip can really be summed up into a few different segments. First would be demonstrating that fender clearancing along with bump stop spacers allows an 80 series Land Cruiser to clear 37-inch tall tires on stock suspension. The second segment would be me getting perpetually stuck in the 80 series. While tire rub wasn't a problem, getting stuck on the other hand seemed to be an issue I couldn't avoid. Needless to say, the heavy 80 must be part dog, because even with the 13.5 inch wide tires aired down to 6 psi, she likes to dig big holes instead of floating on the snow. Before I move on to the third segment of our trip, here's a montage of all the times I got stuck for your viewing pleasure. Luckily, my friends in their more snow-capable Cherokees were along to keep me from having to shovel all afternoon. In the end though, I'm still really pleased with how the Land Cruiser did. The goal for this build is an all-around capable four-wheel drive that can tackle a variety of terrain types with confidence, not just a dedicated snowmobiling rig. I want the upgrades and mods I pick for my Land Cruiser to actually come from getting out on the trail and seeing what does and doesn't work. Even though I didn't have any issues with tire rub on this trip, it's obvious that the suspension has almost no up travel with the bump stop spacers I built, and the axle droop is limited by the factory link shocks. Adding a winch bumper and winch will really compound the situation, so I proved to myself that since I'm not willing to cut my fenders even more at this point, I'll be needing a suspension upgrade in the near future. The third segment of the trip was inching our way forward, making slower and slower progress as the elevation increased. Obviously, as we got higher up, the snow was deeper, but what really killed our forward momentum was the thick, solid ice crust on top that hid grainy, salt-like snow underneath. As soon as we'd break through the crust, we'd just sink in the ultra-fine snow. Making progress became a game of crust breaking, and as you can see, it made for some pretty slow going. As the day got later and later, we decided to turn around to avoid getting stuck in the worst section of trail as nightfall approached. When it was all said and done, turning around ended up being a good thing, because that's when we ran into the fourth segment of our trip. Somehow the red Cherokee managed to break the coil wire post off the distributor cap. While we all carry an array of spare parts for our vehicles, a spare cap wasn't one of them. Fortunately, I was able to redeem the 80 a little by dragging the Cherokee off the mountain, but not before narrowly missing getting stuck again. Hold it off.
Well played.
I did not think we were getting out of that. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content like this, consider subscribing and leave us a comment below with any suggestions.